It's 9 p.m. You have an essay and a problem set due at midnight and a test tomorrow. You would rather be doing anything else, like watching some anime or listening to an epic fantasy like the Stormlight Archives. Then it hits you. Why not do all of it at the same time? With multitasking, you can kill 2 stones with 1 bird. You can do your essay, problem set, study for your test, and listen to Lopin's next big mess up. Comment if you understand the reference. All at the same time. Another day, you're sitting in a lecture hall listening to your philosophy professor drone on about Immanuel Kant. You start to drift off and begin texting your friends. Suddenly, you're an email. How did you get here? Before you know it, you're on Amazon looking for your next sci-fi read. We are living in an era where distractions are more prevalent than ever before. The internet, video games, and unfairly interesting Kurzgesagt science videos are everywhere. Instead of accepting a select few activities and enjoying them, many students decide that doing everything at once is the solution. I'm not the only one who used to think this way. A study done by health professor Lydia Barak and colleagues 2012 found that 50% or more of Northeastern American university students in their study did multitasking of some sort while listening to a university lecture. And as technology only becomes more widespread, this number is likely to just get higher without intervention. Schoolwork sometimes doesn't grab our interests like our friends, club activities, and self-learning outside of school. I believed multitasking was the answer. I used to play Fortnite while studying for my geometry test on the side. But after reading more into what makes life enjoyable, from Mihaly Csikszentmihalyi's books, Flow, The Psychology of Optimal Experience, and Finding Flow, as well as many others, I realized there's a hidden consequence of multitasking. Multitasking, as fast as we can kill stones with it, hurts our ability to enjoy life. Multitasking inhibits our focusing muscle, which increases our tendency to mind wander and makes it harder to focus attention, ultimately reducing our ability to enter the flow state and have optimal experiences. To understand why, I will first explain how our focus is like a muscle, the science of mind wandering, and finally, the nuances of the flow state. Then I will explain what you can do to bring enjoyment back into your life. How multitasking hurts your focusing muscle. Firstly, let's define multitasking. When I refer to multitasking, I'm specifically talking about doing 2 medium to high cognitive tasks simultaneously. So cleaning the dishes while listening to Samwise say potatoes on repeat doesn't count. But doing 3 school-related things like listening to Lopin in the Stormlight Archives, be an idiot, does. Your ability to focus works like a muscle. When you repeatedly focus for long periods of time, you build your focus ability. Yeah. Multitasking over time degrades your focusing muscle. This is because the brain can't multitask. While multitasking, the brain intermittently switches back and forth between tasks at super fast intervals. This creates the feeling of doing 2 things at once and makes the multitasker feel like a productivity god. But the feeling is a lie, because in the process, the multitasking's poor focusing muscle atrophies like our love for Sauron after he betrays Gandalf. Our reduced focusing muscle in turn increases our ability to mind wander. Think about what mind wandering is. It's wandering away from the activity at hand because of an inability to focus attention. So long-term multitasking increases mind wandering. Let's discuss why this hurts enjoyment in the next section. Why mind wandering hurts enjoyment. Everyone has experienced moments during the day when their mind drifts off to activities other than the one at hand. One moment you're writing an essay for school, and the next you're contemplating your plans for world domination. Okay, maybe that specific thought's just me, but this mind wandering seems harmless enough. According to Killingsworth and Gilbert, mind wandering can be incredibly damaging to our enjoyment of life. Through the use of a smartphone technology, Killingsworth and Gilbert were able to sample 2,250 adults through experience sampling methods. Participants installed an app on their phones that randomly pinged them throughout their days. And when pinged, participants answered how they were feeling, what they were doing, and if they were thinking about something else than what they were currently doing. And there were 3 illuminating findings. First, mind wandering happens during any activity. The first major finding was the nature of people's activities only had a modest impact on if their minds wandered. People's mind wandered in any activity, whether they were answering emails, running, or watching Shrek 3. Mind wandering outside an intended activity is unenjoyable. The second major finding was, on average, people enjoy an activity less while thinking about something else than the activity they tend to be doing. No matter the activity, if people reported they were thinking about something else while doing it, they didn't find it as enjoyable as if they invested their attention in the intended activity. This explains why it almost never feels good to doom scroll through TikTok or go down a YouTube rabbit hole when you intend to be doing something else with your time. But that doesn't mean I don't enjoy my fair share of Viggo Mortensen bucking kicking shots on replay every now and then. Attention determines enjoyment of an activity more than the activity. The third major finding adds to this idea. Your attention to an activity determines your enjoyment of the activity more than the activity itself. In other words, the activity matters less in your enjoyment of it in comparison to where you hone your attention while doing it. In effect, you could feasibly enjoy your organic chemistry homework as long as you were fully attending to it. You are what you attend to. These two things, our focusing muscle and the implications of the mind-wandering study, illuminate a profound fact. You are what you attend to. Take two people, put them in the exact same situation, and they will attend to different things and therefore literally perceive different things, and therefore find different amounts of enjoyment from the thing. In addition, the same senses that come into their senses will be perceived in different ways because of their unique background. At any given moment, we're being bombarded with vastly more sensory information than we could possibly attend to. Homework assignments, inspiring books like Building a Second Brain by Tiago Forte, and peanut butter. The most difficult thing to resist of all. It's up to our consciousness and subconscious attention to determine what we attend to and therefore allow into consciousness. So it's not an overstatement to say that we are what we attend to. The self shapes what we attend to, but what we attend to shapes the self. It's a circular relationship. This brings us back to multitasking. Taking the two insights from before, it becomes clear multitasking hurts your ability to hone attention. In effect, multitaskers are more vulnerable to the informational chaos of the moment, attending to small pieces of negative information and giving it unruly amounts of space in consciousness, hindering their enjoyment of life. This outcome leads to the third and final nail in the coffin for the problems with multitasking. It hurts your ability to enter the flow state. According to Mihaly Csikszentmihalyi, author of Flow, The Psychology of Optimal Experience, the flow state is when all otherworldly matters seem to drift away and we become fully immersed in the present activity. In other words, there is order in consciousness. During flow, the person loses self-consciousness, but not consciousness of the self. And it's for this reason the flow state creates optimal experiences that are incredibly enjoyable. Attention is so focused on an intended activity that there's no room for consciousness, for anxious thoughts or worries about the future. Worries like, when is that essay due? When is the next prelim? And how long until book 5 of the Stormlight Archive comes out? And after a flow experience, the self grows by becoming more integrated, differentiated, or both. Think of a writer, climber, or chess player who exits an hour of flow more skillful in their respective activities. This is what differentiates flow from the pleasure you get in fulfilling simple biological or social needs like eating food, having sex, or getting your daily dose of Stormlight Archives reading. If you can't tell, I like the Stormlight Archives. Enjoyment is pleasure's cooler older brother. It comes only when information coming into consciousness not only succeeds in some prior expectation, but goes beyond what we are programmed to do, achieving something unexpected. This is where the issues of multitasking come into play. They inhibit our ability to achieve the prerequisites to flow. There are 7 elements to entering flow, which I distill in the acronym actions. I call it this because if you fulfill all of the 7 elements of it, you can take any action with confidence. It can become a flow experience. A for attend only to information which matters. C for clarify, create clear, completable goals and rules. T for tau, stay in the Goldilocks zone. I for iterate, receive unambiguous feedback. O for operate, create a sense of control over actions. N for non-attachment with time, detach from time, and S for self-goal, foster an autotelic personality. The main element multitasking inhibits is our ability to attend to what we're doing, one of the essential elements to entering flow. In effect, chronic multitaskers find it hard to downright impossible to enter flow and have optimal experiences. Instead, they're perpetually conscious of the self and prone to the negative informational chaos of the moment. How to bring your enjoyment back into your life. If you're a multitasker or know a multitasker who's dealing with these issues, you should give up. There's absolutely nothing you can do to help yourself. I'm joking. Luckily, there are quite a few things you can do to bring optimal experiences back into your day. First, and most obviously, stop your rate of multitasking, doing 2 or more highly cognitive tasks at the same time. Then you need to learn how to come in control of your consciousness. As mentioned before, the information we allow into consciousness forms the contents and quality of our life because the self shapes what we attend to, but what we attend to shapes the self. Luckily, there's only one word you need to ingrain into the depths of your being in order to control consciousness. Kunkelstump. I think it sounds funny. The word you need to ingrain is awareness. Awareness, 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 awareness. I'm gonna say it one more time because it is essential. Awareness. Awareness. I had to get in another one. Only when you're aware of something can you make the conscious step to change it. With awareness, you can be a witness to the universal human tendency for bullshit. Let's quickly discuss 3 ways you can build your awareness and why they will help you have more optimal experiences. Build back your focusing muscle. As discussed earlier, multitasking destroys your focusing muscle. Chronic multitaskers can barely pay attention to one task for more than 5 minutes at a time. So one part of building back your ability to have optimal experiences is developing your focusing muscle. The better your focusing muscle, generally, the better your awareness. This is because awareness is hard. You can't just be aware for a couple hours during the day. That's how you find yourself eating 3 Tony Chocolonis at 3 a.m. and watching anime until your next lecture class. The goal is to be aware all of the time. This means you have to build your focusing muscle by practicing focusing on one activity for long periods of time. This could be anything. Talking to a friend, reading a book, writing, going on a run, eating, performing ritual sacrifice. As long as you give the activity your full focus for the intended duration with no distractions, especially your phone, you will build your focusing muscle over time. It won't be easy. When I started reading again, I could only read for upwards of 15 minutes at a time. It took months and months before I could begin to read books for sometimes an hour and a half straight. But when I could, I was so happy because I could finally read the Communist Manifesto in one reading session. I have no prouder achievement. Practice mindfulness meditation. Secondly, to build your awareness, you need to learn how to mindfully mind water. Dang, that's a mouthful. Practicing mindfulness through meditation is one of the best ways you can do this. The biggest benefit of mindfulness practice is awareness, as you begin to develop an understanding of your thoughts and emotions. This awareness lets you realize when your mind is wandering outside of your intended activity. Another profound benefit of becoming more aware is you learn your thoughts and emotions are not you. Rather, you are the experiencer behind everything. This was comforting when I first learned it because most conversations in my head are kind of like this. Scenario: Aiden doesn't do homework assignment because he would rather read Atomic Habits. You're a waste of oxygen. Well, technically I recycle oxygen into CO2 for plants, so it's not a waste. What will your friends and family say when they learn of this? They will disown you. I don't think they care. No peanut butter for you. No! Understanding these thoughts were not me was incredibly helpful for my mental health. The act of ingraining this idea as a central tenet for your life is what I call spirituality. Practicing spirituality is the art of persistently recentering yourself as the experiencer behind your thoughts and emotions. Imagine a state in which you always attend to only information most important to the activity at hand. You are always centered. You are always having optimal experiences. It just takes awareness. So how do you begin with meditation? There are tons and tons of guides out there, but the way I started and the way I recommend is you're taking the basic courses on Headspace's meditation program. Headspace is a fantastic meditation app with tons of instructors who take you through guided meditation. It costs only $14 a month and helped me ingrain the meditation practice I still have to this day. The Airship, Pilot, and Antifrabrian. Lastly, to reach a state of persistently centered awareness and thus purposeful attention, you need to know what's important to attend to in the first place. As stated before, it's very difficult to enter the flow state if you can't become fully present. And it's not possible to be present unless you know what you should be attending to at any given time. To know what you should be attending to in the moment, there must be times where you reflect on the past and look to the future, so you can clarify your goals, tasks, and values. In other words, you need to know what mode of being you should be in. I like to use the analogy of living life as the Airship, Pilot, and Antifrabrian. First off, because they reference the Stormlight archives, and secondly, because I have always wanted to be a flying ship. While living life as the airship, you simply run through the tasks and calendar items given to you by the pilot. You can be fully present because you're acting out what was preordained by your past self acting as the pilot. Your pilot defined clear goals, tasks, and values to live by. Therefore, you don't have to constantly question if what you're attending to is right. While a pilot, you create or alter directions for your airship mode to follow. You define goals, tasks, and values to work towards in the next few weeks, months, or even years. I do this process through my daily, weekly, monthly, quarterly, and yearly reviews. During these times, I reflect on the past. How did I show up to my goals, tasks, and values? And then I iterate for the future. You can see more about how I do this in my video, Creating My Best Average Day with Obsidian Periodic Notes. Finally, as an Antifrabrian, you tinker with the systems you're using to run your life. Your task list, calendar, and all the other systems you have in your life, like your knowledge management, task management, morning routine, etc. This can take the form of ticking off things on your to-do list, reorganizing a digital notes app, or something else. Typically, I'm an airship 85% of the day, a pilot 10% of the day, and an Antifrabrian 5% of the day. By living in modes, I don't have to question what to attend to at any given moment because I've already chosen what is important. I can be fully present. Overcoming your multitasking identity. If you follow these 3 steps, you will find yourself able to enjoy life again. When I broke out of my multitasking shell, it felt amazing. I found myself enjoying the activities in my life much more than before, simply because I was giving them the space and consciousness they deserved. But it wasn't easy. In the process, you might feel less productive for a few weeks or months. This is totally normal. You stop making yourself feel productive by doing lots at once and started making real moves on what matters to you. I invite you to share in the comments how your journey goes. What things did you struggle with most? Be sure to check out my 2-part video series on how to gamify your life to enter flow more consistently. I discuss more in depth how we can more consistently enter the flow state through exploring the industry which fosters flow most powerfully, the game industry. As always, have a fantastic rest of your day, and bye-bye.